There's an app on the Oculus Quest 2 called MLB VR. I don't recommend downloading this app because it's easily the worst app I've used for VR, but it does have two different types of scoreboards, and I wanted to use those two types of scoreboards to quickly explain how to read a baseball scoreboard. So let's jump into it. And this is the MLB VR app. And this is a game, a replay of the 2022 World Series game between the Phillies and the Astros. If you look above the screen here, you'll notice one type of scoreboard. This is more in line with what you'd see if you're watching a game on TV, and we'll go over that type of scoreboard second. If I hover over it, you'll see more details, and we'll go over this scoreboard first. It's also important to note that regardless of the type of league that you're playing in, whether you're in youth baseball all the way through professional baseball, you're going to notice three common things on any type of baseball scoreboard, and that would include the team names, the current inning, and the score of the game. Another common thing that you'll see on most baseball scoreboards are balls, strikes, and outs. It's not on this one here, but on almost every scoreboard you'll also see balls, strikes, and outs. So if we go over this scoreboard, you'll see the Phillies and the Astros. These are the teams that are currently playing. The Phillies are the away team, so they're always on top. The home team is always on bottom, so you have Astros on the bottom here. We go over here to the right, you'll see columns 1 through 9. 1 through 9 indicates the number of innings in the game, and then these numbers that are underneath each of the innings, that indicates how many runs have been scored in each inning. So in this game, for example, we have played 6 innings, so innings 1 through 5, each team has scored 0 runs. In the 6th inning, we have the Phillies have scored 1 run, and the Astros have scored 3 runs. You'll also notice, if you can see the gray rectangle around this 3, that just indicates that we are currently in the bottom of the 6th inning, so this number has the potential of growing even higher if the Astros score more runs. And if we come over here, we have 3 more columns. We have R, H, and E. R stands for the number of runs scored for the entirety of the game. So right now it is currently 3-1. The Astros are up. We have this column here, which is H, stands for hits. This shows how many hits the team has had total. So the Phillies have had 2 hits total, and the Astros have had 4 base hits total, and this is for the entire game. The E stands for errors, and this is how many defensive errors each team has had, which at this point is both 0. So if we go over here, you'll also notice this on most Major League scoreboards. This has a bunch of names and also shows what the defensive positions are. But the first thing to note is that this is in order of the batting order. So Schwarber is batting first, and then you have all the way down here, you have Sosa batting last. So this is the batting order, and then you also have the defensive positions next to their names. So it has Schwarber, LF, which stands for left field, and that's just showing you where they're playing defensively. And if we move over to these columns, we have 5 columns here. We have AB, which stands for at-bats, R stands for runs, H stands for hits, HR stands for home runs, and AVG stands for average. One interesting thing to note is that these first 4 columns here, AB, R, H, and HR, this shows the current totals for the game, whereas average will show you the average for the entire season. And this is probably the only stat that you'll see on a baseball scoreboard that averages for the entire season, or in this case, this is for the entire postseason. But this goes over the entire season instead of just for the game. And then when we come back over here, we'll look at this second scoreboard here, which is a condensed version of this scoreboard. And this follows the same pattern too. So you have the Phillies on the top because they're the away team. You have Astros on the bottom because they're the home team. We have RHE, which stands for runs, hits, and errors again. And this box here is different than what we saw before. So you have this gold arrow, which is pointing down, and then 6th. That stands for the bottom of the 6th inning. If it was the top of the 6th, this gold arrow would be pointing up. You have three squares here. This indicates the base runners on each base. When there's a base runner on a base, it'll turn gold. So you have first, second, and third. If there is a runner on first base, for example, then this box over here to the right would turn gold. And then you have BSO, which stands for balls, strikes, and outs. And that does it for the main components that you'll see on a baseball scoreboard. A couple of other random ones. There is another statistic that you'll see. It's called LOB, which stands for left on base. That's how many runners have been left on base. And then there's another one called MVR, which stands for mound visits remaining, and that's how many times the manager can come out and talk to the pitcher. And that does it for how to read a baseball scoreboard. If there's any other stats or anything else in a baseball scoreboard that you noticed that I didn't cover in this video, let me know in the comments below and I will reply back.